Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BETSPERTS.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. Andy, we are on to week 4. We get to put a bow on the first quarter of the NFL season today.
Is it a quarter anymore, Drew?
No, because they effed it up. But
what would you call a part
approximate to a quarter?
I mean, I guess we just need to use the fractional word for a sixth.
We are close to putting a bow on the fourth 17th of the NFL season.
See, there's 18 weeks though.
Yeah, but there's only 17 games. So, but you know, a quarter would constitute, a quarter of the games each team has played. I would say not a quarter of the weeks.
3 weeks times 6, though, that fits in. So a sixth of the season was already done. I don't know, man.
A little more than a sixth. A little more than a sixth.
A little more than a sixth.
Yeah,
because
not
the
quite
buys,
a fifth.
I don't know, man. Yeah. I was sorry for the math right off the bat, but yes, it was a fun weekend. Closing with honestly, of all the halftime shows we've done, have we had one that went properly right off the bat?
No, not. It's been a while.
The Cowboys one with the pick six.
It's been a while.
Usually it's like it's usually like, hey, we're on the under, and then there's like a 60-yard bomb. Like, oh, they're at the 3.
Oh, great, thank you, cool. Now I get to sweat. Great. No, that was a good way to end the week. Otherwise, I am having a shit start to my NFL 2021 campaign, which this happens. The only thing I can kind of hang my hat on is in the years past, the best seasons I've had started poorly, forces me to grind a little harder. That's at least what I tell myself. So hopefully that's a good indicator of things to come. Not loving the week 4 card, honestly. This is a little bit of a tough market, I think, this week. You have to respect that there have been some pretty aggressive adjustments in the eyes of the market on a bunch of teams. Dude, if I get to the point where I'm counting on Myles Garrett DPOY to bail out my season, this is going to be bad. I'm just responding to a Sam comment there. But it'll
still be fun.
But yeah, no, looking at the board, like there's some games where there was a pretty obvious opener that reflected a huge reaction from preseason on some teams, and the market just kind of shrugged, said, yeah, that's right. And we're going to find out if that is right or not this weekend. But there's a bunch of those games on the card starting right off the top, but I'm fired up. Week 4 is going to be great. Headed up to the Rockies this weekend. Fall colors are popping apparently.
Rocky Mountain High.
In fact, actually, yeah, it's going to be a little bit dicey doing the halftime show tomorrow. So we'll touch base on that. But I think I will be available.
We'll pre-record it.
Like that. Well, that was an ugly half of football, Andy. What do you think about this?
We should do one of those
under
ones.
21. All right, under 21. Let's go for it. We don't have much else to say. Let's just go watch some baseball. Enjoy your night.
That, and we should attempt it and be like, oh man, that pass. You guys know which one we're talking about. Oh my god, the one from our guy T-Law. Which coaching decision was more indefensible? The one that Zach Taylor made, or the one that Urban Meyer made? I think we're doing it.
Or both.
We're doing it right now.
Or all of them.
Before we get fired up too, I will mention, because anyone who maybe didn't catch the last one, the Sunday one or something like that, if you're watching us on Twitter, on the live Twitter feeds, which we're going to leave up because it's nice for anyone who wants to just stay in app and watch it.
Of course.
You cannot comment anymore. Periscope part of it is broke. If you want to come and comment, and we love when you guys comment and talk to each other during the live stream of this, you'll have to come over to the BETSPERTS Media YouTube channel, and we can see all your comments if you're on YouTube, or the Deep Dive Podcast Twitch channel.
The Twitch channel.
Twitch is alive, and there's one person over there in Twitch right now.
It's starting to become more and more popular, honestly. More and more people are watching on
Twitch user. Otherwise, Let's dive into this. We joked about the Bengals Jags game. Should we start with that, because it is Thursday?
Yeah, let's start with it, and let's start with the market adjustment here first of all, because I got to tell you what, when we knew this game was coming before the season started, The look-ahead line was not 7.5. It is currently, market is saying there is a 7.5 point gap between these two teams. Expectations were low for both the Bengals and the Jaguars coming into the season. People, myself included, were cautiously optimistic that Trevor Lawrence would be able to make an immediate impact for this Jags team. That has not happened. However, there's been an adjustment from the look ahead, which was Cincinnati -2.5 now out to -7.5. The
little column A, little column B, though, right, Drew?
I would say yes. Oh yeah. Joe Burrow, yes. Joe Burrow not as far from 100% as we were led to believe in the preseason. Trevor Lawrence much farther from 100% than we had hoped to start the season. Urban Meyer 1 foot out the door as opposed to building something long here in Jacksonville, which is wild. Zach Taylor still making completely insane decisions as a head coach of his football team, despite being 2-1 to this point in the season. Absolutely wild. Their wins, a little bit of a suspect win against the Vikings in terms of just how it was done in overtime with the fumble recovery, but still a hard fought win. They played hard in that game. They went for the jugular. They didn't play for the tie late. They played for the win, which is always fun to see. And then just an absolute ass kicking of the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. So good job by you, Cincy. Jacksonville's still looking for their first win. Total right now sitting at 46. We saw this open 45.5. A little bit of a tweak up to 46. Not as much of a move to the over as I would have expected, considering these two defenses are sus, to say the least.
Oh, sus.
But yeah, situational impacts matter. Jaguars have a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach, and they're playing on a short week. So the likelihood that they have all the wrinkles, if there even are any, in Urban Meyer's offense, then we're not going to see them probably on this short week. Stay away.
This is going to be like Brie Larson's beautiful face. 0 wrinkles. I don't think they have any. There's not going to be any. They haven't
Brie
shown
Larson.
any.
What made you? They have Brie Larson.
I'm a Brie Larson.
Miss Marvel.
Oh, she's been great, and honestly, she can do serious stuff too. Room was really good. Yeah, Urban hasn't shown me anything from a game planning standpoint. Like, the most exciting thing to happen this season was Arizona making a super boneheaded idea of kicking a field goal from their own 30. Like, it's just not going good. There were signs. There were early signs, the coach hiring, the Tebow thing. I mean, some of the early comments have been rough. So I'm not quite there with this number. My power numbers can't get there. Like, I like the Bengals. They have some defensive players that I like. I think the two biggest surprises for me, and the reason I have been upgrading the Bengals a little, is our biggest worry in the offseason was Burrow's injury was kind of bad. Like, is he ready? There were comments and there were some quotes, and we're like, shit, is he going to be good to go to start the season? Is he going to be 100%? He's looked pretty good. And a couple of these young players, and I mean, a couple of just games that we've seen this defense play half decent ball, which we weren't super expecting. Coaching probably still going to hold them back, but this is going to be weird if they end up with like a winning record, miss the playoffs, but end up like 8-9, 9-8, somewhere in there. And like, do you fire the coach after that? Cause it's an improvement. So weird year for the Bengals. Obviously the schedule isn't always going to be, I guess you get the Steelers again, which is apparently an easy one for them, but they do have a tough, they do have a tough division. And if they get this one, they're well on their way to being a 500 team, which is something amazing. I wasn't quite sure we'd see. I'm probably going to throw this in teasers. I can't lay this many points with Zach Taylor, with Burrow's been great. The drop C's that Jamar Chase had in preseason completely gone, but they're like, you can drop this game and just not bet it. Like, it's a teaser for me or nothing. I know some people can make a case for the Jaguars. My numbers make a case for it, but under no circumstances will I be backing not only a rookie head coach, but a rookie head coach who doesn't seem to give a shit, and a rookie quarterback who's had some issues with an offense that hasn't quite got their shit going yet. So no thanks.
Yeah, some absolutely great comments from the YouTube fellas. Thank you guys, making me laugh over here. Brie Larson, by the way, birthday on Friday. Wish her a happy birthday, and I know you're probably DM with her.
I almost said Brie Olson. That's a whole different person.
Yeah, that is a whole different person. Wow. Okay.
I'll let the chat catch up to that. So I don't know anything else on Thursday. We'll be here at halftime. Maybe Drew will be in the mountains.
Yeah, no, we'll try to make it work. You cracked me up. The Jamar Chase, rookie of the year number, insane to you? Just absolutely stupid. No fucking.
I'm probably gonna do a write up on the rookie of the year numbers tomorrow. Like, there's probably some value. Somebody said something about taking Trevor Lawrence as rookie of the year this morning. I'm gonna look at all the schedules. I know a couple people, including our friend Hector SH8 model. He put together there's several people that have what do you call it? Remaining strength of schedule stuff left. I'm going to look at that. I'm going to look at some situational stuff and see how the rookies have the rest of the year to go and see if maybe there's some value. So maybe some T-Law.
I guess here's the thing real quick about the rookies. They are sucking right now. Absolutely sucking. The quarterbacks I'm talking about, of course. Again, which is not something we expected because they all had live arms in the preseason, and oh, by the way, they all had a fucking preseason. Justin Herbert didn't have an offseason last year, and he came in and he broke the all-time record. I guess I guess with
Anthony Lynn.
With Anthony Lynn. Yeah, I guess I was completely spoiled about what to expect out of this class. But to this point in the season, either between the situations they are in or the coaches they're paired with or all of the above, they have stunk. And but here's the thing. Here's the thing. They won't for the whole season. There will come a time, probably in October, this next upcoming month, there will come a time when we will start to say, oh, look at him. He's turning the corner. It might be this week for some of these guys, for all I can tell you. It might be this week for Trevor Lawrence. He might put up points on the Cincinnati Bengals. I find 46 points to be laughably low. If you get even an average performance out of what we expected from Trevor Lawrence coming into the season.
Just some baseline middle of the road play for most of the season and a few wins. So that's why I'm going to dig into some of these schedules and start watching their games a little closer, even the ones I'm not bet on. I'll bet some stuff.
I guess what I'm just saying is we will get to the later point in the season where one or multiple of these guys will start to play well. And at that point, the award will be theirs to lose. Right now, Mac Jones being the favorite is fine just because he's in the most competent situation. But ultimately, one of these guys who's a quarterback will emerge. It may even be Trey Lance for all we know. So,
there's a decent chance it is. So.
Yeah, I do not think offensive rookie of the year market is bettable right now, even at the numbers we're looking at for, even with the fact that the number on Chase is insane in my mind.
I was hoping it'd show some value,
but who knows?
Washington football team at producer Dan's Atlanta Falcons. Dan has had nothing nice to say about the Falcons all year. He's a very harsh critic to them, and he isn't wrong. Their offensive line stinks. This is a pandemic, not a pandemic. We actually had a real endemic of the league. There's some really, really bad offensive lines out there right now, and some of it is because of injury. But Atlanta's is just based on what they trotted out there this year.
Yeah,
losing to the Falcons was really, really, really poor on the Giants' part. That makes me really, really feel for what's going on up there from a coaching standpoint and just from a leadership standpoint in the Giants. But they got a win last week, and I still had to downgrade them a little bit yet. They went down a titch, and Washington coming off a shellacking, I suppose, heading down to Atlanta. This is a back-to-back. Atlanta teaser leg is in that teaser zone, but with with an offense like they have, and Pitt's not really getting super involved yet, and the offensive line being bad. And this is going to be a theme of stuff I talk about this week because we're going to come up in a couple games, but when you have positional matchups and you have a half decent positional matchup, or let's say you have a positional group that's half decent versus a very poor one. And the biggest example I'm going to use is Tennessee looked really, really good from a pass rush standpoint. They don't have a good pass rush. The Colts made them look good. Same thing kind of happened. Washington does not have a bad defense. We said they'd take a step back. Their pass rush is still good. Just Buffalo was a good enough offense and they worked around it. Like Washington is not a bad defense, and this is a sick-ass matchup for them. It's a horrible offensive line. Washington's defensive line should eat here. If I had to bet, I'd probably just not even think about this teaser and take some Washington. I don't like the matchup though with the back-to-back, and it's just not a game I'm super excited about getting involved with either way. But I'd lean Washington, and this total is probably right where I need it to be. I don't have a ton to say other than that's what's scaring me off using Atlanta as a teaser leg, is the fact that this pass rush could cause some havoc, can have some turnovers, some defensive scores, things of that nature, crab rangoons, all that.
Crab rangoon, a lot of crab rangoons and things of that nature possible. Sure. I played the under here. I think this is too high. I think a high 40s at this point for an Atlanta offense, considering what Matt Ryan is doing out there.
That's pretty fair.
Yeah, considering the Art Smith scheme still in its absolute infancy, if it's not stillborn,
it's a zygote.
The couple points that I wanted to make about this game, besides just the fact that I think the total is too high. Pass rush, you brought up a lot of good points about that, and I don't want to say that the pass rush for the Washington football team is overrated. Clearly, the defense was overrated coming into the season, because defense, as you already ought to know if you've been listening to this program for more than 5 minutes, we think of defense as relatively a composite reflection of who you have played, much more so than it is, especially the metrics. Like the metrics really just reflect who have you played. Look no further than some of the examples on the current EPA per play defensive stats. Pass rush matters in two moments. Are you playing a team with a bad offensive line or a bad quarterback? Do you have a lead? Because that's when you can absolutely get after it with the pass rush, and you can make those game-changing plays. You can put away a 7-point lead if you let your guys pin their ears back and go after the quarterback on every obvious passing down, because the other team's in a must-pass situation. And you're playing a little bit of prevent defense. You're going to give up the short pass, but the other team's trying to gain yards in chunks, so they're going to try to let the play develop a little bit more. And your pass rush, if you have guys like Chase Young, is going to get home, and they are going to wreak havoc. And so Washington, if they get a lead in this game, good night. Like really could see, you really could just see a rerun of what we saw with Philadelphia, Atlanta. Like I'm entirely expecting that is on the table. And then on the flip side, Heineke, even though he was serviceable week 2 against the Giants, was awful last week. Lots of high leverage turnovers. I can entirely envision a Brian Rivera sitting down in the quarterback room with this guy and saying, "Hey, man, you got to cut out the turnovers or you're going to lose your job." At which point, Heineke probably isn't taking those chances. He's running a little bit more conservative offense, which, not going to run up the scoreboard here. So either way, I love this under. My favorite total on the board is this under. And I have to tell you, what do you think is, changing the subject entirely? What's going on with the market and the Washington football team? Because they have been bet now 4 weeks in a row. And you can look at the opening line with the Giants and say, that was 4, it got bet to 3. Every time that number hit 3, somebody came in and put a dump truck of money on Washington. And that continued last week. They got bet down from 9 to 7. Week 1, they flipped favorites against the Chargers. They got bet out to almost 3. And again, this week, they were dogs on the opener here against the Falcons. It's been bet out to 1.5. Is somebody martingaling? Somebody with just like an enormous bankroll just martingaling Washington until they finally cover the spread?
Yeah, it haven't made sense, and that's why, I'm not betting this. I have these teams. I have Washington as my 23rd best team, which is to say they're better than Atlanta. But that's why I'm not betting this. I don't understand.
Oh my gosh, I'm on the 23rd as well. Ooh, man.
Really? Hey, look at that. Where do you have Atlanta though?
24.
26 for me. I'm a little lower.
Really?
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, I don't have a ton to say in the Washington market. I don't understand it. I don't know who's coming in on it, but I wish them all the luck in the world, I guess. I don't know. good luck.
Best of luck to you.
Yeah, good luck doing that.
Best of luck to you, good sirs. Okay, let's move on to Detroit at Chicago. This number's stupid. It's crazy. The Bears are now -2.5. Yeah. The look ahead here was 6. The preseason was 5.5, 6, depending on where you were looking. Detroit's not good, but they've been playing hard. And I guess the fact that Detroit playing hard has gotten the respect of the market compared to the Bears, who had a complete and utter lack of preparation in week 3. There may be something going on with Fields besides just the way that Nagy has crafted the offense around him. He may have some injuries situation going on with his hand, wrist. I don't know. But the way that they were utilizing him in that game made 0 sense. This was the game we had circled preseason of, boy, that would be a nice time to deploy Fields finally. And sure enough, it has come, and the market wants nothing to do with the Chicago Bears, despite the fact they're at home, despite the fact that the last time they were at home, they were plucky, they were bet against in this exact same way versus Cincinnati and won convincingly. And I mean, we're expecting Fields will take, we'll take the QB1 snaps here. But at the same time, having said all that, I want no part of whatever's going on with this quarterback, coach, front office, ownership, fan situation in Chicago. This is an absolute hot mess. It's unraveling extremely quickly. And it can't be overlooked that the Lions are playing hard. They don't look like they know they're 0-3. They don't look like they know that they stink and that
they didn't hear no bell.
They didn't hear no bell.
No, like I bet the Lions. Like I took the Lions, and I don't feel good about this ticket, but I had to. Like I'm down to under a point for home field for basically everybody. It's a divisional game. It's not a big travel spot, and really like this. All right, little come to Jesus meeting here with everybody. This is the part of the season where you have to really, really be humble and, of course, be humble, stay humble, stay hustling. But you really have to take a look in the mirror and say, "Hey, dipshit, you were wrong. You were wrong about Andy. You were wrong about the Cardinals. You were wrong about the Rams, probably." Hey, you were right about Washington. Throw in one of those. Like, yeah, you've won. Like, hey, you're right about. Throw in some. You were right
yourself.
I think Dan Campbell is a better coach than Matt Nagy right now. God, say that out loud. He's a psychopath. He said some he got this weird stigma because he said stupid shit in the media. But he is a better motivator of men right now because they have a bad roster. And they don't have any receivers. They're making an offense with, scotch tape and popsicle sticks. Basically, hey, we have a receiver back and we have some wide receiver tight ends. Like, we're going to see what we can do with this. And it's not been horrible, all things considered. Like, they're playing pretty hard on defense. I've said it numerous times this week. I've been impressed with their front 7. And yeah, I took them at 3.
Andy, that was well said. When you're the head coach of a professional football team, you wear many hats. And one of those hats is getting the most out of your players. And Dan Campbell is doing that, period. And he's not doing it in a way that is going to burn through like the Joe Judge way, right? Like there were some times last year where we were saying the same thing about Joe Judge and the Giants, and hold on to your hats because we will get there. But I would say Dan Campbell is doing it in a way that it's more the Mike Tomlin way, right? It's more in the, like, he absolutely has that locker room playing for him and they are enjoying themselves despite losing. And also because he is a psychopath, he is being aggressive. And it's actually like a plus EV strategy, like one of the hidden plus EV things that you can do as a coach. And believe
accidentally
me,
aggressive.
He's not doing it because he believes in the Excel sheet. He's not doing it because he's the next Bill Gates, but he's doing it. And that's all that matters, right? Like that's all that matters. And ultimately, as this team gets more talented, as they presumably upgrade the quarterback position, they might be good. That they are. I don't know that he has the scheme really, which is a key element that we have yet to see. They certainly don't have the defensive personnel strength-wise, or defensive, any strength on the defensive side of the ball. So, all that said, maybe 42 is a little low. Maybe if Matt Nagy actually, calls the good plays, this gets into the mid to high 40s. I want no part of it. So let's move on to another stinky game that I kind of walked into a bear trap in, and you can have a good laugh with me about it, or laugh at me, I guess. The Tennessee Titans take on the New York Jets in the Meadowlands. The New York Jets are a team that has not had a good start to their season. They are 0-3. The last two times out, they were miserable in terms of trying to cover the spread. The offense is rating at a level that we haven't seen in a long time in terms of futility. Zach Wilson's EPA per play in neutral game situations is so low that it's off the chart, really, which is tough to, it's tough to square with, the fact that the kid's got an arm. However, he has been under duress early and often, early in the play count. He's not processing quickly enough to get the ball out of his hand. He's, the play is breaking down on him before he can get through his reads, and he's trying to throw to some wide receivers that don't have hops. Let's not entirely put this on Zach Wilson, right?
Yeah, that little kid said it best. That still cracks me up.
All that said, they're going up against the Titans defense that stinks and can't rush the passer. And so if there ever were a time in the early part of Zach Wilson's career that he could actually put some points in the scoreboard, build a little bit of confidence, and show the home team fan, the hometown fans that he is not the next future bust among the Jets quarterback room, this is the time. And I don't entirely love the Titans as a favorite over the last couple of years. They had some games they absolutely should have covered easily against the likes of the Texans, the Jaguars, the Bengals, notably last year, that they lost outright. They just don't play especially well as a favorite. I don't know what it is. They can't put teams away because they don't have a pass rush. Their coverage isn't good enough. Lots of things. But ultimately, yes, I respect the Titans offense. I respect Ryan Tannehill, but they still are figuring things out in the absence of their, the guy that was stirring the pot there last year in Art Smith. And so I think this is going to be a competitive game. I don't see this as a touchdown plus game. Initial line, it was Jets or pass. I probably should have passed because the Jets are going to be without Marcus May, which was a surprise, and a surprise that I think matters. However, the Jets, I think, can go score for score with these guys. So I probably should have just played the Jets team total over small and let the 7.5 go. But I played Jets 7.5 this week. So what do you think?
Yeah, I don't love it. Marcus May out is bad. It's very bad for a defense that has very little talent outside of him. So yuck. But also Tennessee might be without two receivers, and this under has taken some money. Like, shout out to the people that are betting this under. That's probably a good side. This could end up being seriously.
Who else besides AJ Brown?
What, Julio's kind of dinged up.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I think he's done this forever, but I think he plays, but a dinged up Julio. So yeah, this is a teaser killer, says Sam Lipscomb. I don't know. I'll be teasing this one. I'll be teasing everything. I make this. Oh, I had this one close to betting the Jets as well. It was Jets or nothing, but I'm fine saying I'm on the wrong side of the number. I'm not going to bet the Jets, even though I can't get this out to 7.5 and still teasing it there. Yeah. Dan says Julio didn't practice today, but it could be just a veteran thing. So hopefully he's in for Tennessee backers and hopefully he's out for Jets backers. But yeah, I don't have a strong take on this. I did mention before that Tennessee's pass rush looked better than it actually is because of what the Colts trotted out there in a quarterback that couldn't move. That's going to make every pass rush look good. So that's not as good as we think. I think the Jets score some points. It'll be it'll be novel. Try something new, Jets.
Yeah, I would love nothing more for this to be a Cameron Batson, Chester Rogers, Nick Westbrook, Ikehini type of game for wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans. But I won't hold my breath there. I'm just counting on Zach Wilson to show us anything. This is the time to do it because he's not going to be under pressure. And honestly, just the fact that he's going to have more than 2 seconds should give him, like in a relative sense, right? Like when you're playing on, you're playing on the hard courts in tennis or the grass and the ball's just flying. And then you get onto the clay. If you're a clay guy and you're like, oh my God, like it's going especially slow. I can get all my shots, right? This is the same kind of thing. Hopefully that without guys constantly in his face, that he gives us some sign of life. Otherwise, this might be the only time I back the Jets all season.
Yeah. And then to be fair, you're looking like you're on the right side. If this closes down at 7, I hope it does, because then I don't have to tease it, because then I won't. Nice.
I would just like the Jets to look live in the first half, and I would happily come back on the Titans at a nice price at halftime. Real quick, Titans, a contrarian play at all in Survivor? Or just don't
probably people might get scared away from the receiver stuff, and people I don't know, there's probably some people that are just going against Jets every week as long as they can. I don't know. I'm staying clear of this one in Survivor.
The only plus EV play that I'm seeing among the survivors this week is Buffalo. That's just my numbers, but yeah, somebody else may differ.
Buffalo probably wins. Cleveland, we bet. At Minnesota, we bet this on the open. It was a pick. I got -108. Feel good. It bounced to 2. There's been a little resistance there. The Vikings offense is good. Even with a backup running back, because running backs don't matter. Scheme matters. And Madison is actually an able-bodied back. Maybe that's where you're going to see some Minnesota resistance. People are going to get excited that Dalvin Cook is back. That does not change anything for me. This is a much better defense.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing, honestly. This is a much better defense than the garbage we saw Seattle trot out, and a better coaching staff. That was the biggest problem. I don't know if the defense was the biggest problem last week with Seattle. It was the coaching staff making some odd decisions and not being aggressive with a lead, not doing some things that are conducive to keeping a lead and winning a game. Covering a game would have been nice. Yeah. And yeah, this is a better coaching staff, a much better defense, and an offense that I don't think was asked to do very much last week, and was on the wrong side of variance. Like, they had a couple of 4th downs that were just maybe not the best, plays called, but also they were stopped. They should have had more points. This is a good offense. This is a good team. They lost to a very good Chiefs team, despite what their record is, and have looked good otherwise. So Cleveland, I love this play. I don't know if I'd still play it too. I think I probably would, because it doesn't. I mean, it'd be a lot cooler if you had a better number, but this would still be a play from. I make this over 3 right now, and I've given Minnesota some credit in my power numbers for some things.
Yeah, I do too.
And then finally, if you were game planning for Kirk Cousins, it would be cool if you had someone who knew him well, like Kevin Stefanski. That's just it's a silly little narrative.
If you did, yeah,
silly little narrative, but it's probably a little bit true. And that's
I don't
that's
think
my whole thing there. So
I don't think that's entirely
Browns.
Narrative City, but yeah, no,
it's a bad offensive line.
You didn't even mention. The Browns have a Dalvin Cook stopper in JOK. He is the quintessential Dalvin Cook stopper. Realistically though, the Browns defense was so good last week. I really would love to see them continue to play at that level. They're going to be without Greg Newsome, who has been a nice kind of addition as a rookie cornerback, but they can backfill with Greedy Williams, which I'm perfectly fine with. This is going to be a very interesting test for them though, because if things go the way I think, and if this is a Browns can get out to a lead with the pass and put a little scoreboard pressure on Minnesota, and Minnesota then reverts to the plus EV Minnesota, where they are just passing on early downs to Jefferson and Thielen, then this is going to be a fantastic test. Those guys can get open so fast, and they are such crisp route runners, and they have so much chemistry going on right now with Kirk Cousins that you're going to have to see rock solid man coverage from the Browns corners to let Myles Garrett be the deciding factor in this game in the second half. Yeah. That's my read.
And even with Newsome out, where it matters, much better defensive line versus a bad offensive line, and they should have the advantage with a good offensive line versus an improving pass rush from Minnesota, but still not nearly on the level of Cleveland's. And both secondary, I would take Cleveland's secondary 10 times out of 10. So in the spots where it matters, I think Cleveland has a big advantage, and they get this done.
Yep, I hope that's the case.
5 more sacks.
I laid the points too. Yeah, I laid the points too. Browns. Let's go. Oh, that's out to -2, -115. Oh, cool. Yep. Cool. I get nervous when we get to the middle of the week and there's resistance on some of the stuff that we like. The fact that one has moved a scotch more, hasn't gotten quite out to 3. That's fine. I'm with you. My fair is 3. My fair is 3.5. So I'm happy being under 3 for the Brownies. Let's go Browns. Let's move on to
let's go Browns.
This one was the easiest to scratch for me personally.
Really?
Oh yeah, I have no interest in this game, but I will set the table for you, and I would love to hear your reasoning, because honestly, the Jacoby Brissett experience is not for me. The Carson Wentz experience also not for me. I probably will play the Colts again at some point this season, but they need to absolutely turn things around. And Frank Reich has done it before. He started 0-4 one year, and then that team made the playoffs or came close. I can't remember. I think they made the playoffs. But realistically, these are two teams that are in a little bit of trouble right now in terms of expectations were high coming into the season, and now they both sit in sort of this elimination game state, right? I don't think 1-3 you're getting to the playoffs if you're the Dolphins. At 0-4 with the Colts, you're probably out of the running, even in the very weak AFC South. So in fact, Colts probably start thinking about, do we even start Wentz anymore, because we don't want to give up the pick 1.2 or 1.3 in the draft.
Guess what? You're injured.
Yeah. Oh, it's somebody stepped on your broken foot. Oh, bummer. Yeah. Well, we'll put you on IR there, buddy. No, the total on this one has let's see, with the total on this one is 43. It has been bet down from 45.5. The side has been bet up and then back down, and then sitting at about 1.5 across the board at this point. If you forced me to guess, I think it's probably going to 2.5 on close. I think the Dolphins are going to take a little bit of money here. We saw them take money last week. They rewarded bettors. I would expect people walk back to the window to back Jacoby Brissett. Andy, what is the case for taking a side or total in this game?
Just my power numbers aren't super close on these two teams. And the Jacoby Brissett thing, again, I don't make it a downgrade over Tua. And I think what we saw in the first half, a lot of check down stuff, was kind of what we're going to see based on this guy wasn't supposed to be the starter. Easing him in. He looked fine though. Like it wasn't bad. It was just, you're not going to get great out of Jacoby Brissett, but he has enough experience. He's back home. He's serviceable. And just, a few things going against, everything is actually going against the Colts here. They're in a back-to-back road game. They're going down to Miami where it's going to be 85 and humid, possibly with some rain. Everybody missed practice today. Like everybody. And if Wentz is as mobile as he was last week, he's in big trouble again. Like they probably, that was a weird box score. Like the Colts played better than that score showed. But again, Doyle didn't play practice today. Fisher didn't practice. Quentin Nelson didn't practice today. Kwity Paye, Braden Smith, Darius Leonard, none of those guys practiced today. If like half of those injuries go the wrong way, and they are bound to, going down to Miami on a back-to-back road game with all those injuries and a hobbled quarterback.
2-3, by the way.
Yeah.
Colts on the road again next week.
I have to, and I said that to somebody earlier today. I said, I almost laid off this game and said, God, I hope they play good. And then we can take Baltimore so hard, because there's only like 3 back-to-back roads all year, and this will be one of them. They have to go to Baltimore next week, which could, if they don't get this done, that is the absolute death knell for their season. So the back-to-back going to Miami in the late summer, early fall with all these injuries and where my power rankings have these teams, Jacoby Brissett be damned. I sold this out to 2.5 at plus money.
Okay.
Only 88 today.
Yeah. I don't have a red team case for you here. I don't think that's the wrong handicap.
No, I make it like 3.4.
You make this 3.4. Wow. I got to relook at my numbers, I guess. I'm at 1.5 on the nails here. And I'm making Indy.
I'm making a pretty heavy quarterback based adjustment.
I mean, my market prior on Indy was relatively high. Like, what was Indy's win total this year? They were
10.
It's going to take me a while to have a fair price on Indy if they're this bad. Honestly, if they're this bad, because that's a huge downgrade offensively from what was expected. And again, we weren't there. I wasn't at 10 for these guys, but I still was not so far off market that I can now see value in this one. Okay. All right. I will cheer for you. Go Dolphins. Go Fins. Go. They were big for me last week. Getting that cover against the Raiders should have been a hell of a lot easier than it was, but so be it. Let's move on to Carolina at Dallas. The Widowmaker spot that I did not take. I want to know if you are involved in this one. Carolina is coming off of Thursday Night Football. Dallas is coming off of Monday Night Football, which means Dallas is on a short week. Carolina had extended time to prepare for this game. Carolina is dealing with some injuries, notably to Christian McCaffrey, although the market's growing up. The market is growing up. From what I can tell you, the adjustment for Christian McCaffrey in or out of this game was 0. It does not look like people really made much of an adjustment to Carolina. Carolina also loses J.C. Horn for extended time, but they trade for C.J. Henderson, who also might not play, so who knows. But 3-0 Panthers get their first real test of the season. They are 4.5-point dogs currently at the Cowboys. There was an initial move from the look ahead out to Cowboys 5. It's come back to 4.5. So basically there was like let's not give the Cowboys an adjustment. So basically we're back to where we thought we were between these two teams before the Cowboys put on that spectacular ass kicking on Monday Night Football. The Cowboys offense is a truck right now, and we covered this at length at the halftime show, so I feel a little redundant recapping all of this, but the way that Dak Prescott is playing right now is superlative. And yes, he's making a couple mistakes. He's not as mobile as you would like to see. He's getting sacks and he's getting sacked and fumbled a little more often than you would like, considering the pass pro has been so good. But it doesn't really matter because they have a couple of the plays that you just absolutely love to see when you back a team, right? Like they have in their back pocket, they got the one where they roll the 2 tight ends out and they're layered and they're hitting every gap. And it's like, well, who are they going to cover? It doesn't matter because one of them's going to be open, right? And Dak Prescott is processing things really quickly on those boots. And basically 3rd and medium, 3rd and short, roll Dak Prescott out, and he's going to get you he's going to move the chains. Like that's basically how this Cowboys offense operates right now. I would expect that to continue to work against the Panthers. However, again, this is the first relatively serious test that they're going to come up against their defense, I guess. I don't know. What did you end up taking? Did you take the Widowmaker spot? The extra rest? Okay.
Yeah, even without the extra rest adjustment, I made Panthers a little closer than the 4.5-5, where I showed some value on this. I like the Cowboys. I did adjust them up, but they're good. That offense looked great. I don't know if I can really get behind the defense yet. I want to treat it similarly to, hey, guess what? The Browns defense, amazing. But Matt Nagy yes. Gets the, like in hockey, Matt Nagy gets the assist and Justin Fields and that offensive line gets the secondary assist.
Yes.
Because the game plan, what they did with him was just like always going to get him killed by anyone. So it made a great defense look historically great. So I guess Drew just gonna leave. Well, I'll just keep talking. I'm sure he'll be. Drew just pops out like that. Is he already in the Rockies? Either way, same kind of thing is going to go for Dallas. Dallas's defense. Here's Drew. He's back.
Sorry, man.
Dallas defense. You're fine. You're fine as long as you always come back to me. Dallas's defense looked good at times, but I really want to blame Sirianni and some of the things they were doing with that offense for some of it. Although they have some nice young pieces where it might not be just an absolute sack of shit like we've seen for a couple of years. So I'm hopeful, but I'm not sold on the Dallas defense. Yes, the Dallas offense is where I had them at the beginning of the season. I've given them some upgrades based on Dak's injury was scaring me, and I don't think I'm scared of that at all right now. So I just can't get to 4.5 yet for this, especially once you factor in the short rest for Dallas with a suspect head coach and a long time to prepare for Carolina with the 10 days to prep. So, yeah, Micah Parsons, he's going to be good, I think. So even it's nice Penn State finally puts him in a league that's going to be good. Sorry about the Giants having a dud, but
interesting that you're generally pro Cowboys and you've generally been anti Panthers. I feel like so the fact that you will take the Panthers in this spot has my attention, I guess.
It should be like a 3. I just
okay.
I can't get it here.
Cowboys also, by the way, not just with a short rest, but coming off of Monday night football game, now playing in the early slot. So like the momentous of this game is significantly down from what they just went through, against a rival, getting an NFC East win, getting, the coverage that they get after the fact, blowing them up.
You got another divisional game on deck too. You got the
Giants. Yeah, I mean, this is if you look up letdown spot in the dictionary or saying which spot, this is probably exactly it. Like there's a lot of situational factors against the Cowboys here, but I couldn't get involved because getting involved means backing Sam Darnold when there's a question about there's a big question that I have about him still. He's had time to pass. He's played some soft defenses and he's not throwing the ball to Robbie Anderson when he's open, which means he's either not playing with confidence or he's not reading that route often enough. And
I mean, are you going to give him a little benefit of the doubt? It's still 3 games in a new system.
Yeah, he may get there. They may point that. I'm sure that if Joe Brady's a good guy, Matt Rule, we'll see, but they're probably in the quarterback room going over the tape like, hey, man, like this was the read. Look out for this. You got to, they haven't had to take chances, though, because they haven't been behind. Right. And I'm still need to see what the Panthers look like in comeback mode. I need to see that Sam Darnold doesn't turn into the ghost seeing Sam Darnold we remember from last year. And honestly, Cowboys have a player in the secondary in Diggs that I did not expect coming into the season. That kid can cover.
Hopefully he covers Robbie Anderson because it doesn't matter then. You take
well, that's just it. If I'm Dallas and I'm like, wow, we have one guy who can cover, I'm literally like, okay, you're going to follow DJ Moore all over the field, wherever he goes, you're in his pocket, and we'll make them beat us with anyone else. And if Darnold can do it, then you're going to win your bet. If he can't, then there's probably you'll probably have an opportunity to get off at some point because this is going to be, this should be a competitive game. So just like Robbie Anderson, you'll have an opportunity to get off, but just not in somebody's eye.
Maybe Darnold's just a big Sir Purr fan and he took some offense to calling him a bear. They have that CGI thing now too there. Like the Panthers got some weird stuff going on. Yeah, either way, just kind of numbers play. I had to do it, so I'm on the Panthers.
Okay, I don't stop you. I think that every situational angle points in that direction, so you got a lot going for you. What'd you get 5.5 or 4.5?
I got 4.5.
Okay, all right.
I didn't grab this one early enough. There's 2 and one.
You didn't tickle any money line?
I probably will. Okay. Get +1 something on there.
+1.
We'll tickle it a little.
Okay.
I'll do a fun money line parlay once we get to the weekend here.
Okay. Giants at Saints. Skipperoonie.
This let's spend a minute each on this. Like, I've said enough bad things about the Giants already. Tony was a bad pick. Saquon's fine, but you're getting what you've always got from him. The Daniel Dimes run plays have been great.
Though.
What?
Daniel Jones was a bad pick.
No, these are all bad.
Tony
picks.
was a
they're
bad
all
pick.
Bad picks.
Yeah.
The front
Andrew
office
Thomas was not worth where they took them. Yeah.
The front office has screwed up everything about this. Who's the offseason acquisition that was inactive?
Galladay.
No. Someone will get it in the chat. Like everything they've done has been messed up. Boy, this is escaped me. It's bothered me. Either way, the Giants have not been good.
Okay.
And everything they've tried to do, I've said this a couple times now about them. There's like a spectrum of a rebuild, and you have like the Jets who are at the ground floor, and the Giants think they're like halfway through it, and they're not. Like, they're so much closer to the beginning than they think they are. And having, the offensive coordinator they have, having some of the others, the play calling you're getting from him, it's never going to turn into a great offense overnight, especially with the pieces they have. So it might be a slow the game down kind of thing, which you could probably do if Saquon does anything at all. So I don't know what the game plan would be here, but I am giving the Saints more Carolina love here. I'm giving the Saints a little more of a pass because the Carolina defense turned out to be better than we thought. So, like a little bit of pass on that loss.
Saints were winners last week, but it was kind of because of the way the Patriots played, much more so than what the Saints did. Patriots gave them 14 points. Patriots were miserable on offense. Patriots defense couldn't generate anything. And Jameis Winston is running an offense that I don't understand. Like, I don't know what this is. Like, the extreme conservatism is troubling in terms of their long-term prospects. Devontae Booker. Oh, yeah. Booker, yeah. They had John Ross is on IR too. A lot of the guys they brought in are just complete non-factors. The problem I guess I have is how you going to lay 7.5, 8 points with the team that is running that offense, even though now they're finally at home. Oh, they're finally in the Super Bowl. Oh, it's Superdome. Blah, blah. They're going to have the home crowd. Blah. No, I'm not seeing that being a factor here really at all.
I could see winning by like 2 or more.
The line, the way the line, yeah. I can see him winning by 2 or more too. Yeah, there's decent teaser leg, but I'm back in my head. I'm not ready to get him, get heavily involved with Jameis Winston financially this season. But ultimately, I looked at the spread. It's fat. This is Giants or nothing. And then it's easy to pass on a Giants team that is coached by Joe Judge and coordinated by Jason Garrett. I've seen enough.
I'm probably teasing a good team with a good coach versus a bad team with a bad coach at home in a raucous environment. I don't feel bad teasing this, but yeah, laying the 7.5 straight up not happening on my card.
Yeah, Saints. By the way, like shame on us for missing this under on Sunday. I think I just wanted no part of this game, so I didn't even cognate. Like, I didn't even process. You
weren't cognating. You were spilling drinks.
I was spilling drinks. This was bet down from 47 to 43. That is absolutely the right direction. The Saints defense is 100% bona fide. The Giants defense should find some ways to make Jameis look bad in this one. I'm still fine with them. And the Giants offense can't score in the red zone. And I'm never scared of them whenever they are in the red zone. And what were your thoughts real quick before we move off the Giants? What were your thoughts on Joe Judge's comments today?
It made me like this teaser even more.
Okay.
If Bill Gates, if spreadsheets could win games, Bill Gates would be like in the Hall of Fame or something. Just asinine stuff.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley. Am I not pronouncing it right?
I don't know.
Josh is gonna have to fill me in. Saquon? Is it Saquon?
Is it Saquon? No, I think
Saquon.
It's Saquon.
Remember, we didn't say Tyrod Taylor's name right for many.
It's
many
Tyrod.
years. Yeah. It is Saquon.
Oh, I like calling him Sack because it's like Sack Lodge from Wedding Crashers, which always cracks me up.
Also, they don't shorten it to say. It's Sack, so I always say Saquon.
Sack. Oh, I say
It is
sack.
Saquon.
I say
Okay.
sack all the time. Real quick on the Joe Judge comments. The first part of that comment actually was more revealing than the second part. Did you get that? Where he was like, I'm not operating from a place of fear. Okay, well, good to know. Good to know my coach isn't a pussy. He's just an idiot. Okay. I feel much better now, right? Yeah. Like, and honestly, if he starts going for it on fourth downs now, like Dan Campbell style, like just to prove that he's not a pussy, like, okay, like that won't shock me. Anything could happen at this point in terms of the Joe Judge experience. But I can tell you that the call, if they do go for it, it's not going to work because they're going to call Jason Garrett play call. So they're kind of screwed. They're kind of screwed regardless. And before finally moving off, I don't like the Giants as a franchise. I don't like the Maras. I don't like what they, I don't like I don't like the power they wield within the sport. I like Rooney Mara too. But I don't like the power they wield within the NFL ultimately, and I don't like what they do with that power. And I think ultimately, if you are a Giants fan, you need to reckon with the fact that the fish rots from the head here. The Maras put Gettleman in charge. The Mara has okayed the Judge hiring. The Mara's okayed the Jason Garrett bringing him in, even though they played against the guy every year for like 10 years. And so, they somehow don't catch any of this, any of the scrutiny for the Giants overall being an embarrassment of a franchise, even though they are in the, in the biggest city for all of the NFL, and they're right in the
biggest little city in New York.
Little city in New York. They're in. They call it. No, it's not the Big Apple.
Big Apple.
But that NFL is headquartered there, biggest media market in the United States, and the Giants and the Jets are a fucking embarrassment. And for whatever reason, the ownership doesn't really get much scrutiny, and I think they ought to get more for the way they run that franchise.
Yeah, other owners get a lot of hell. So, Dan in the Slack says he's going to call the cops because you're murdering the Giants. I didn't like. I also like. I don't like the Maras, but man, I didn't think we were going to do this today. Like, okay, I'm fine with it. No, I'm fine.
This is where we are with these guys.
No, we are.
We can read. Don't worry. I'm sure they're in some primetime games coming up. We can read. We can do this all over again later this season. Don't worry.
And for the record, I was joking when I say Saquon. I totally knew it. I've just said it so long that I just say it now.
Like, I like it because I like to call him Sack.
We call him Sack Barkley. Sack and I think
Barkley,
I just keep calling it that. And then I will get in front of this too. Trying again, if you're watching this live or if you're watching this secondarily, trying to set the thumbs up record this week. I've never gotten to 100. Please give me a thumbs up. That's all I want in my life.
Producer Dan, let's move on to page 2.
Page 2 of the games. We are at KC at Philly. Boy, this was the one we talked about a lot during the game. Man. This was oh my God, what's KC going to open now versus Philly, because Philly is looking horrid. Philly did look horrid. I've already spoken to what I thought. Bad game plan by Sirianni, bad use of your young quarterback, bad use of the offense, and the defense was hurt, had some holes in it to begin with, and then suffered an injury in the secondary. I was Fletcher Cox, when he sat on his ass there, I was like, oh no, this is not good either. And turns out he was just tired. He just wanted to break. So dodged a bullet there. But Eagles not good. This is still a lot of points on the road for a team that we've seen not look good on defense. And yes, this is a team that I'm probably not getting in front of because they can just turn it around like that on offense. All of a sudden, we're not throwing turnover-worthy passes, and we're not giving it to CEH as much. It's Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if anybody wanted any pronunciation help on that guy's name. But if they can use him less and then, make some of these smart decisions we've seen for the past few years, all of a sudden this offense just puts up 35 on people, and it's a lot harder for other teams to win when you score 35. That's just math. So this total is high, and this Eagles line is getting too many points, and I'm scared to take either. Talk me into something here.
How could you play this game? Honestly,
hold on.
I mean,
if you guys want to just maybe give me an 800 number.
realistically, let me pull up my fair. My fair probably says bet Philly, and there's no way I could get involved with Philly after what we just saw, especially because we now know concretely. Oh, excuse me. My fair actually says KC. I'm at 9 here for Kansas City. So if you want to lay the points with the Chiefs, I'm not stopping you. If you want to tease the Chiefs, I'm not stopping you. I don't think that the Eagles lost a lot of players in that game. They have a lot of guys, important guys dinged up. Their secondary stinks. Their offensive line is hurting now. On top of it, that was one of their strengths week 1 when we thought this offense might be feisty. A ton of it was because the offensive line was doing a great job of giving Hurts, the time and space he needed to operate. It's all gone sideways on him relatively quickly here. The path to victory for the Eagles is a little murky here. I'm not even sure what your game plan is. You're not stopping Mahomes, so you literally you're going to have to operate in a much more aggressive offensive attack than what we saw versus Dallas. And the fact that they didn't even really have the ability to go score for score with Dallas from the first whistle is a concern. Jalen Hurts playing from behind, not for me. 7.5 is a big adjustment from what we saw last week, but I don't know what the case is to back the Eagles.
Some people have mentioned Philly's team total. Philly's team total is going to be like 24.
Yeah,
go watch that offense. I mean, the Dallas defense, as much as I dogged on it a little, better than the Chiefs, and you might get to this in garbage time, but maybe Eagles first half team total under, Chiefs first half. I'm not sure how to attack this. I'm pretty much on market, I guess, but I'd still just don't trust the Chiefs defense to cover a number. They just haven't done it for so long. I still think we're paying a premium on this team that's kind of run over from last year, so I'm staying away from this one. Yeah. And then Femi bringing it up. Chiefs, this is Andy Reid returning to Philly.
It's homecoming week.
Also, fun fact, he can win his 100th game with the Chiefs.
Oh, really?
And he would be, I believe, the first coach to have 100 wins with 2 different franchises, which is quite because I mean, a lot of the greatest coaches of all. Think of all the greatest coaches of all time.
Belichick didn't even do it. He didn't.
He didn't really coach at 2 different places for a long time. Landry and some of the,
did Dungy do it Dolphins with the Bucks and the Colts?
I don't think so. I don't think he was there. The place is long enough. But you got to be somewhere a while to win 100 games. So kudos to Andy Reid. Even if he doesn't get it this week, he will get to his 100 wins sometime. Hopefully he's feeling better, staying hydrated, and we're moving on to Buffalo.
What about Don Shula? Did he do it with the Colts and the Dolphins?
I really doubt he did it with the Colts.
Interesting. I'm gonna look that up. I want to know who else has 200 wins.
I think he had like 3/4 of his wins.
About Dick Vermeil with the Chiefs and the Rams.
God, you know how many wins Shula had? 347.
He had a lot of wins. Yeah, most of them were with Miami though.
Yeah, I think it was mostly Miami. So
anyone who bet an early number on KC, I don't think. Good job. You made a great bet. If you bet a late number on KC, you're probably still making a good bet, in my opinion. I don't know why I didn't bet this game. I don't know why I didn't bet the Chiefs. This should be one-way traffic. Chiefs having covered since I had short hair. I can tell you that much. It's been a long time, but I think honestly, I think they finally popped.
I mean, pre-vaccine they covered.
Yeah, that's true. Pre-pandemic they covered.
Houston took some money. Houston opened up 17.5 at some places, which is a lot of points in today's NFL. And they took some money. And yes, I know the Bills looked very, very good, and Houston looked pretty bad on Thursday night. But Houston has a long stretch to prep for this game. And Buffalo, certainly any team might be looking past them here at the next game. There's no incentive for a team to win by 3 scores. You don't need to win by 3 scores. A 1-score win counts just as much in your record. The only thing is, of all the teams in the league, we said, it's like, hey, like, Andy, if you had to rank teams based on how much did they keep their foot pinned to the floor at the gas pedal with a lead, Bills are top 1.
If you power rank the teams that I would lay double digits with, Bills are 1 with a bullet. They are 1 with a bullet. They do have KC next week, though.
That's the thing.
You kind of set that up a little.
I sympathize with the people taking the plus 17. I get it. Maybe a plus 10 first half. I don't know.
That is a big game. That is a big one. KC Buffalo. Let's assume we just talked about KC. Let's assume they take care of business at Philly. Let's assume TCB. Buffalo doesn't do something stupid. Buffalo will be 4-1, hosting a 2-2 Kansas City team. Kansas City may be looking up at the standings at either 3-1 LA, who has a head-to-head win against them, 4-0 or 3-1 Denver, 4-0 or 3-1 Vegas. Like they're going to be on there. They're still going to be at the bottom of the AFC, regardless of what happens this weekend. What is the current look ahead on that KC Buffalo game? My God, that's going to be a good one. Sunday Night Football too.
Oh God, we've been blessed with some good Sunday night.
Damn it, it's in KC. You want to guess what it is without looking?
In KC. I'm going to punch my numbers in quick. Oh man, my spreadsheet's being slow.
Real quick, while you're looking that up, Barry Thompson brings in an interesting point. We didn't mention Casey looking ahead. That's true, but ultimately, if you are 1-2, you don't look ahead as much, right? It's much more if everything's going swimmingly and you're playing a lackluster opponent and you have a big game on deck. That's more likely where you see some issues. What do you make it, Andy?
KC -1/2.
Current look ahead, KC 3.5.
I am off market.
So Buffalo Bills money line might be in your future on the opener. I was planning on betting that all summer, and I don't know if I'm going to have the stones for it come next week. We'll see. Got to gauge kind of the health of the Chiefs as they come out of this film.
I feel like there's a decent chance I make a Chiefs adjustment after this game.
Yeah. I guess the question is, it's not going to push it over 3 though. You're going to have massive value on Bills. Yeah. This isn't your number from where you are. And let me look at where I'm at too. Cause I think I'm probably right there with you. I haven't adjusted much either of these.
This is the week I bet look aheads. I'm going to bet them for quarter unit. I'm going to go smaller on it, but I'm going to run all my look ahead numbers, make some decisions on here's games that I feel like that have a low chance of going the wrong way and affecting me negatively. And I'm going to bet some look aheads. I'll have an article out Friday.
Okay. Final point on this game. I played the over. It's moved against me 2 weeks in a row now. I bet Bills overs and the market has spit in my face. I don't care. Bills can score 47.
How'd it go last week?
It was not competitive, honestly.
Halftime, I think it was over.
And honestly, this is such a similar matchup, and it's in Buffalo again. The wind isn't even going to be even remotely an issue this week. And honestly, like we said on Thursday Night Football last week, Davis Mills could spin it. And, with a full week of actually 10 days of preparation for Houston, I think they can score some points on this Bills defense. Bills defense, not as good as their metrics say right now. No way, no how.
Bookmaker doesn't look at.
So I think BetOnline might have it up.
I'll go over there. I'll check Nitro.
BetOnline has 3.5 flat right now, allegedly. I am not looking at it. I'm looking at that screen. Okay. The Buffalo Bills, we can move on. Over 47 is a play for me. Let's talk about Cardinals Rams. So historically,
this is the one that I let get away from me. I'm going to just say it right off the bat. I wish I'd have bet Arizona off the open, not because it moved, because I did my numbers too late and it moved, and I'm mad.
No, we talked about it and we said this is going to move in favor of Arizona, but I thought we both cognitively made the decision to not take that.
I know, but then I did my numbers and it's even better than I thought.
Oh, it is? Oh, where are you at?
I'd have to check, but I just feel like I thought
what was all that eating crow with the Rams earlier?
Well, I think I'm eating crow on both teams.
Oh, okay.
I was wrong on both teams.
That's true. You were wrong on both teams.
I'm wrong on both teams. I'm equally wrong on both teams. I got to think of more teams I was right on. You know what? The Chiefs were one. I played a Chiefs team total.
Dude, we were very right on the AFC in general, I feel.
But yeah,
the Raiders may be the one exception.
I have this at a 3.7.
I'm at 4.
Still play it.
I'm at 4.
Maybe I'm happy. Maybe I'm happy just staying off this because maybe I was wronger on the Rams. That's fine. But this will be a really fun one to watch. And a big thing we touched on all off season and during our previews for sure was the Cardinals were a completely different team after Kyler Murray hurt his shoulder. And we said, God, they were fun for like 6 weeks. Like the beginning of the season, that offense was wild. It was great. And I don't know if that's what we're going to see. This division's going to be nuts.
Yeah.
Like especially if Seattle gets their shit together. My God. And if Trey Lance is like, yeah, this is a good game. I still lean Cardinals. I probably won't bet this one. What do you think of this total?
Oh, here's a question for you.
You ready?
You ready for this question? The Cardinals are 4.5-point dogs at the Rams. Is this
that was not a question?
Oh. Is this the biggest spread we see in an NFC West divisional game this season?
I can see Seattle sliding further, though. Like
you can see them falling apart entirely.
Yeah, the only way this gets bigger is like Seattle falls apart, and at the Niners or at the Rams later in the season, they're just a 5.5 point dog because they keep going worse. So this is, it's funny how Seattle's the one sliding down. And again, everybody's one. These are fragile teams. Like, Kyler Murray, he's a little guy, not even a bad injury, but again, it wasn't even an injury that kept him out. It was a shoulder injury, and all of a sudden that offense was different. The Niners are extremely fragile. The Rams defense is very fragile, and the brains up in Seattle are fragile. So this division is just teetering on a razor's edge there, but it's been fun, and I'm excited for this game. Won't be betting it.
There are how many head-to-heads in the NFC West over the course of the season? Each team plays 6 games, but you knock it down every time. How many divisional games are there in a season? This is such a hard math problem.
Deer in the sunlight.
Right, 6 plus, it's 6 plus 4 plus it's
6 plus 4 plus
6 plus 4 plus 2. So
12.
12. Okay. Underdogs in the NFC West games go what this season? Just blind betting the dogs.
8-4.
Yeah, that's where I feel too.
We might not even be right about that 12. We got there.
No. I think that's correct.
I think
I'm pretty sure that's correct. Okay.
8-4.
This honestly, like these 12 games are all going to be a coin flip. There's no home field advantage for any of these teams except maybe in primetime in Seattle. Next week, by the way, LA Rams go to Seattle in primetime, right? That was the
other part.
Thursday night football is Rams at the Seahawks in primetime, which is exciting.
Yeah, somebody brings up Seattle not scoring in the third quarter of the season.
That is wild. Weird.
The second half should have just been, as a whole,
bad adjustments in general.
And Josh Wilkin brings up, he bet the Rams at the Seahawks. That's the other part about this. Like, I'll talk about a look ahead as far as
the dogs.
You got. I mean, it's not like you want to let this one get away. These are both important games against teams, but going up to Seattle's tough. That's a big test for them if they want to be an NFC power.
Yep. File this one away. The current look ahead right now is Rams -1. So if the Rams do well and beat and cover against the Cardinals, and then the Seahawks lose to the Niners, certainly you're going to get a 3. That's going to go up. So you will have made a nice play, Josh. But that adjustment, there's a potential that Thursday night's going to be an over adjustment in favor. If there's an over adjustment, it's 100% in favor of the Rams. If the Rams do well here, and if the Seahawks do poorly, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
If Arizona somehow beats the Rams and Seattle looks great against the Niners, you're not going to see. It's still going to be around a pick 'em, I would say. So that's one of those where there's just one way variance in my opinion. What's that called? An asymmetrical outcome. That's one way there's an asymmetrical outcome. So if you're betting the look ahead and you feel the Rams are the right side, you might as well get it now. One other point about why I didn't play the Cardinals at 6 when my number said 4 without even adjusting. McVay owns these guys. He owns Cliff Kingsbury. I don't know what it is. They always tend to absolutely throttle this offense. I don't know why. I do not have the answer. I've never seen a Cardinals team go into LA, host LA, and put up any kind of a fight.
I do think, like, as much as nice things I've said about the Cardinals, Kingsbury's still not a good coach. I worry about that sometimes. So
no, that has not changed from what we've seen.
Yeah, nothing changed there. It's not like he's good now. So.
Kyler Murray is succeeding in spite of his coaching, much in the way Dak Prescott is succeeding in spite of his coaching, in my opinion.
Here's a final thought on this one. Was Brandon Staley the reason, though? We'll find out. Stay tuned. 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Rams. Let's go to the other NFC West matchup then. Seattle, San Francisco.
You have any appetite for a Cardinals team total over then? Rams defense hasn't been much of anything this season.
What was that total? Like 54?
We are going to get something in the ballpark of a 24.5.
If I can get a 24, even if it's juicy, I'll probably play that.
There's a flat 24 minus 115 out there right now.
Yeah, I'll play that. That's a fun secret pod team total.
Well, either that one or Tampa. Are you worried at all about Tampa?
Nah, not really.
That's kind of the one I'd rather play because that's 28, and that'll be fun.
Let's play them both.
All right. Well,
big week.
Consider it. That's to me. That's my second power ranked team total. Arizona Cardinals over 20. What did I say? 24.5.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to the Seattle Seahawks versus the Niners. I took the 3. I was one of those people. I took the 3 points. I said, in the same sort of spirit where just take the dog in all of these NFC West matchups because the margins are so narrow. I feel that Russell Wilson always tends to play especially well against this Niners defense. They cannot get home against him. They just can't get him. Nick Bosa might have 8 pressures and 0 sacks. I wouldn't be surprised. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, brilliant matchup against the secondary for the Niners that not only came into that Green Bay game injured, but then lost more important pieces in that game. This is now a very tough test for the San Francisco 49ers secondary. The market did not really adjust at all. Jimmy G put together an impressive half of football and I guess threw the stink off. But I was there at halftime. I remember commenting on the Jimmy G experience. I remember the incredibly funny fumble that he had where he was facing backwards and tried to throw a pass. But
oh my God. Backwards. He's like, it was a pass. They're like, yeah, it was, but it went backwards, buddy.
Yeah. And I mean, the teams that the Seattle has lost to were quarterbacked by Ryan Tannehill and Kirk Cousins. Now, those are not sexy names if you are trying to rattle off quarterbacks that are, that are especially fun to back. All right. Those guys often get forgotten because they're just they seem like just a couple of guys. They're always kind of in that 10 range, but those guys flirt with 5 to 10 with my numbers every year. Kirk Cousins clearly playing in the top 5 range right now. Ryan Tannehill is just outside the top 10 for me right now, but Jimmy G is not close to the quality at all, in my opinion. And I don't think even with Kyle Shanahan, everything that's going on right now with the San Francisco 49ers, I don't like it. I don't like it.
The thing you're saying, though, like you could be saying the same thing about the Seahawks in my mind.
Yeah.
And that's where this is the same thing as the Arizona game. I make this like 1.5. And if I'm not betting, I'm either betting both of these or I'm betting neither. Because I feel like these dogs should go in 1-1. And I make value on both dogs. You're right. This is kind of the same thing too. Seattle plays these guys so close. All these games, like give me a line, a prop, and do it like a shitty legal book, one-way prop that we would see where they don't give you a choice. No offense, guys, but those are kind of sketchy sometimes. But give me the game. The spread comes down to the final play. Like there's a play that would affect the spread.
Minus 350, minus 400.
it's you'd have to parlay it with something. Like there's been
these guys.
Absolute classics.
These two teams play to a coin flip every single time out, and they should have played to a tie the first time they went head-to-head last year, right? Really? Or was that 2 years ago? This is going to be extremely close. I took the 3 just because it's a divisional game. There's no home field advantage for the Niners and the Seahawks. They have Russell Wilson, and the Niners don't. And that's all I got.
I might live bet both these dogs during Sunday's action. Sucks that they're on at the same time, truthfully, but I'm excited for these.
Ooh, that'll be fun. Okay.
Baltimore, Denver. I don't know if we need to talk too much. We kind of covered it Sunday. We will get a little more into it.
Let's take a different angle than everybody else is covered. You want to?
We bet the Ravens on the
Ravens.
look ahead. I took the money line. I think you took 1.5.
Would you say you left that Sunday show into Monday feeling medium or high confidence in that play?
See, I'm high confidence. I like it. And
would you say your confidence has stayed the same or gone down as the week has progressed? Your confidence has gone up. Oh,
yeah. Getting the receivers off the IR, I think that's going to make a world of difference to this offense. Cool. Having some more receiving options, even against. And then we've had injuries for Denver too. Like another wide receiver goes down, and again, and see if this makes any sense to you. I have trouble phrasing this properly, but it's almost like the you don't know what you don't know thing, where let's say you're able to look back at two teams. One team finished 12-5, another team finished 8-9. They both, in some alternate universe, they both played the first 3 weeks against the bottom 3 teams in the league. Like the one team was a mirage, but we didn't know they were a mirage. We said maybe they're a mirage because they played bad opponents. We were right. They turned out to be a 500 team. They were never going to beat teams that were better than them. They were going to beat teams that were worse than them. Now, the other team turned out to be a 12-5 team. I think the Packers did this the other year. We're like, oh, okay, they're good, but their opponents were shit. Like, are they going to be good or not? Yeah. So it's this is a real big junction for them. And I'm fine going against it because I was high enough on the Broncos, but with the Chubb injury and the receiver injuries, like it is probably a little bit of a letdown spot for a team that, again, you really, really, really did play some awful teams. And we're not going to get to the end of the year and find out those teams weren't awful. I really do think they were 3 of the bottom 5 teams in the league. And I believe in the Ravens. I believe in the coaching. I believe in, again, a little bit of a tough spot here but I make the Ravens favored here.
Okay. I feel the same way. And I posed this question to a couple of our sharp friends. Suma, I asked Rob, I asked Jay from PointsBet what he thought about this. And the answer that I got was basically Denver hasn't just played bad teams. They have skull-fucked them. Right? No one used that language, by the way. Don't mean to disparage our good friends. But it wasn't, basically the telltale sign of a good team as opposed to a fraud is they don't just roll into Motown and win by the skin of their teeth with a 66-yard field goal. They go and they throttle the bad teams in the NFL. Yeah. And Denver there were some drops.
There were some drops in that Baltimore game too that I think would have affected this line.
I don't disagree. And if it wasn't for a 55-yard field goal by the Raiders kicker week 1, they win that game too. Yeah. I mean, Ravens could very easily be a comfortable 3-0 with a win against the Chiefs. Like that is very there's a world where that happened, a reality where that was a thing. The fundamental problem that I have, or why my confidence has gone down as the week has gone on, is because everything points Ravens in this game. The look ahead line was 3.5. It's now +1. The injury news all broke in favor of the Ravens. Everything's going great for the Ravens. Players back, guys off COVID, fully healthy. Broncos, lots of injuries. They lose Hamler on top of Judy, on top of Chubb, on name guys on that team they're losing. Right? Matchups favor the Ravens. They have a great running attack. They're fast. They have tight ends they can use to attack this Broncos team. The Broncos' strength on defense is clearly their secondary. Simmons is amazing safety. He's got incredible cornerbacks working alongside of him. They are a great pass defense. But Ravens don't care. That's what they're not. They are in trouble when you force them to pass, not the other way around. And so I don't understand why there's all these boxes checked in favor of the Ravens and they haven't flipped favorite yet. That's killing me. Somebody out there is either keeping this line down because they're waiting for later in the week to pound the hell out of the Ravens, or they are genuinely convinced that there is something about this Broncos team that a lot of us in the handicapping community are missing. Do you know what I'm saying? Right? Like when you expect, because you expected this line to flip favorite when you bet it on Sunday. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I was hoping for a little more help in the market with this, but again, I'm gonna trust my stuff here. I'm gonna trust the spot, and yeah, and somebody does mention the tight end funnel. I think we might have a bit of a ton of tight end funnel. At Fangio, I don't know. Fangio's defense is fine, but I still don't trust him as a good head coach.
Okay, so fundamentally,
I'm not sure.
Fundamentally, though,
we have ever agreed on a game.
Why?
Seahawks.
Why didn't they flip favorite?
I don't know. Do you think there's just enough juice in the market behind Denver might be actually a good team?
Like they covered three straight weeks, and those people who have all those winnings keep going back to the window. Is that what you're describing?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Do those people bet early in the week? We're getting to the days where limits are up now, and I guess we'll find out where the sentiment is now. But I really don't think I could back this offense. Like we saw it versus a Jets team, and maybe it was a case of the same kind of break that I gave to Cleveland, saying they didn't do much, but they didn't have to do much. You could probably say the same thing, regarding what Denver did versus the Jets. Like you didn't have to go out there and light the scoreboard up. So and also maybe, is this ever going to come into play? Colorado's a legal state.
Not for bookmaker, not for Pinnacle. There's resistance. There's resistance at the market basically the summary of what I'm saying. There is resistance at the market making shops that is betting Denver. And there is no obvious reason why, aside from
a circus up there,
aside from the kind of the very soft conclusion that Denver's bona fide and legit and Baltimore's not.
Yeah, I mean, you have decent limits at Circa. I know, most of the, I don't know what limits are at the other books. Like what's else up there? Monarch has one, and Points Bet. I don't think anyone's taking a lot early in the week. Obviously, Bookmaker is, but that's offshores, which you can access in Colorado, I suppose.
Circa, for what it's worth, Circa's been one way. They opened at Baltimore plus 110. It's down to plus 100. They got to resistance at plus 100, but there's been no back and forth at that point.
Look at this. Abnormally, he's either trolling us or he's actually against us. Denver, biggest bet of the week. That's because he's a Denver. Now he's a full blown Denver.
Well, now see, I wonder if that is serious or not. Because
if I win, I'm taking my money and I'm going.
It doesn't even have to be. It doesn't even have to be AD. Somebody out there is very confidently betting the Denver Broncos, and that person, whoever they are, has respect. And I think, whereas I would have been banging the drum, this is the best. Like. Basically, if the Ravens had flipped favorites here and we had a good number, I would be just going bananas. Like, these are all the great reasons why this is the best bet of the week, But there's something that I don't love about the way the market is moving on this one. That's all I have to say.
I'm fine where I'm at. I just, I still believe in my numbers here, and hopefully zoom into the show. Yeah, I don't know if AD should show his face. Like that seems dangerous. You got to keep the haters at bay.
We'll set him up with one of the funny kind of grayed out voice modulators at some point.
I've been busy. I haven't been in the golf chat as much. Like I didn't even know about the haunted house until today. So sorry. Like I'll be more active now that it is Sanderson Farm Week. I'll get big into the chat. Go in fact, you know what? I'm changing hats. You tee this one up.
All right, Pittsburgh takes on Green Bay. Interesting one because after we saw the Packers could not lose. Ooh, look at you with your Giants hat. You worried about the belt injury at all? No?
I don't have them to win the series. I just need them to win the division.
Oh, okay. Well, hang the fuck on, San Francisco Giants. The Green Bay Packers are coming off a very impressive win on Sunday Night Football. They not only beat the Niners, they beat the Niners and the refs and Jerome Boger's crew. Congratulations to the Packers. Can't keep Aaron Rodgers down. And they take on a Steelers team that presumably someone out there who loves Pittsburgh and loves the Steelers is still willing to walk to the window and bet on this team. And the line got adjusted out to 7, which to me seemed fair, but then got bet down to 6.5. So riddle me that one. Somebody is really willing to walk and support this Steelers franchise, considering the state of Ben Roethlisberger's arm and brain, which to me looks like is not a state that is capable of performing at the NFL level and ought to be replaced at some point this season. Otherwise, this is going to be a lost season for the Steelers in developing some of your young talent. Not to say that they have better options on the roster, but the way that Ben Roethlisberger is running this offense is very, very concerning. And the Matt Canada, Ben Roethlisberger honeymoon lasted 1 week, which is amazing. The defense is banged up already. Are you expecting TJ Watt to make a return? Is that what caused that half-point tick in the market?
He's not worth a half point. He's very good. He helps.
He might be against the Packers.
I mean, maybe they've been fine. You know what? And that's the biggest thing I will say about the Packers in that game, despite the refs, despite the Niners playing well for parts of that game. Their offensive line looked a lot better than we were worried about. Like, we were worried they're down multiple offensive linemen. Bosa's going to eat lunch. Buster Posey this is how little I pay. Is Buster Posey on the team still?
Amazingly. A lot of the guys from that are still playing, and they're performing at a high level somehow, even though they are our age.
He was on the IR the day I went and got this hat at the park. They're giving these away, which was funny. But yeah, the offensive line for Green Bay playing much better than that. That was a big concern for me going into that Niners game when we were sitting on those Green Bay tickets and we said, you know, that they have multiple replacement players on the offensive line and there's a good, decent pass rush coming at them. I thought they did just fine. If that's going to be a concern with the Niners that was assuaged, I think we can assuage it with the going up against this pass rush for Pittsburgh. It is in Green Bay. I'm pretty close to this number. I have no interest in this game.
So not only is Buster Posey playing, he is catching and he is batting third for the San Francisco Giants, who have over 100 wins and are on the cusp of locking up the NL West.
Sleeping with this hat on.
Amazing, man. Okay. This was an easy pass. I usually stay away from teams after big emotional wins like the Packers had on Sunday night. They ought to take care of business here if they're as good as we think they are. And I guess I don't have any rooting interest in the Packers doing anything in like long term. So I guess I'll root for the Steelers to win and hope that the market kind of gets confused again about whether this team is good or bad, so that we maybe have a couple more opportunities this early fall to go against the Steelers. As they get the Steelers, for instance, they go home and host the Denver Broncos next week. The preseason look ahead there was Steelers -4.5. The current look ahead, you want to guess what that is?
One more time, Steelers
hosting the Broncos next week in a neutral time, 1:00 time, Sunday.
I mean, what do we got? Bronx -2?
-2 on the nails. So that has already flipped from Steelers -4.5 to Broncos -2. It'd be nice though if the Steelers do something awesome and that's like a pick 'em or something like that. I wouldn't mind going to war with the Broncos in that spot. But ultimately, the Steelers team is in for a long year. If you had to guess right now, you probably think they finished 4th in the AFC North.
Yeah, something like that. Right up there.
Packers going to get a clean win in the NFC North.
Man, the matchups versus Minnesota is going to be weird too if their defense doesn't start to play up, because Minnesota can score, and then Green Bay has to play an AFC North that's playing better than we thought in a few spots. This is going to be a year for Green Bay. This is going to be a tough one. Hopefully, Green Bay is a little underrated once they get to the playoffs, because I do like them in that spot for sure.
Okay. Cool. Well, let's move on to the main event.
Should we even cover this one? I think everyone else is going to.
You know what's funny? This is my third most interested. Oh, excuse me, my fourth most interested in primetime game of this week and next week. I am more interested in Chiefs Bills. I'm more interested in Rams Seahawks. I'm more interested in Raiders Chargers this week than I am Tampa Bay taking on New England. Presumably this is Patriots porn, I guess. That's like all this is. Like, hey, Tommy's home. Tommy won all these Super Bowls here. Touchdown Tommy going up against Belichick. I don't have any action on this one now. I was considering the Buccaneers team total over just to have a little something here. What do you think? What would you guess Belichick's approach to stopping Tom Brady will be? And will it work?
I mean, I've mentioned this before too. Like, they've had some injuries at the receiver. Gronk's banged up. But what a team to have injuries at the receiver. They just have like great backups. They can backfill. So I don't think this Patriots defense is anywhere near what we saw from what the Rams were doing. I think they're decent though. I think this number is probably a little too big. But at the same time, this is like the KC one where we've seen this team just go scorched earth, and I worry about the outside stuff. I almost never take this sort of stuff into account, and that's why I think I won't be betting this, or I'll join you on the team total over, because like Brady does kind of seem petty. like
I think Ryan might have the right look.
Yeah, the Brady over 2.5 touchdowns, Bucks team total over, like. Brady might just, and to use a phrase you've so eloquently used earlier in the podcast, Brady may just skull fuck his old mentor here for the lulls, and then make a hilarious Instagram little reel about it the next week. Like, it just
so your answer to the question though is Belichick doesn't have an answer.
I mean, if
not with his personnel,
not with the personnel,
and not with Brady's personnel.
If I'm giving Stefanski credit and for being able to scheme against somebody he coached for a few years, I'll have to give Belichick credit for knowing what Brady's up to. But again, Arians is a much better coach than Zimmer, so it's not a mismatch as far as that in the coaching ranks. I do believe in the Tampa Bay front office and coaching staff and what they've put together. So yeah, this number is pretty close to right. I'm just gonna
let me tell you why I clearly pass here.
Yeah,
a lot of injuries impacting this one, and a lot of moving parts with the Patriots. Honestly, Patriots offense has been substantially less impressive than expected. And not even Mac Jones' fault. Like, just the wide receivers suck. They're not integrating the tight ends well. The running backs have been hurt, and the offensive line is playing pedestrian as opposed to top 5, which was the expectation. On the other side of the ball, the Patriots defense has a lot of guys all of a sudden that they are counting on who you probably don't know their names. They're looking for they need high level performances from Dietrich Wise and Davin Godchaux and Henry Anderson in order to generate pressure on Tom Brady. And they're going up against all pros like Ali Marpet and company in the interior of that offensive line for the Bucks. And realistically, if you want to stop Tom Brady, you got to bring interior pressure. I don't think the Patriots have the horses. Maybe they have the scheme, but I do not believe it's coming. Secondary for the Patriots has been suspect this year. J.C. Jackson, Jonathan Jones taking a step back from what I expected, given how great they played opposite Stephon Gilmore the last couple of years. Jalen Mills isn't performing especially well by my grades. So I think the Patriots are going to be able to score points here. Not expecting to see Gronk, are expecting to see Antonio Brown, are expecting to see Godwin and Evans, not expecting to see Scotty Miller. Probably a healthy dose of Gio Bernard. I like the looks of I like the integration of Gio Bernard as a running back for the Buccaneers offense. And yeah, against the pass pro, giving Brady time. he should pick these guys apart. Unless he utterly chokes, unless it's like a primetime choke from Brady because he's all caught up in the emotions, then this should be one-way traffic. Tampa's team total is 28.
If he's catching feelings.
If he's catching feelings.
What's the kid say?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think, and somebody, Lance McNeil here in the chat says, as a lifetime Pats fan, Brady is out for blood and will pull no punches. He'll run the score up as a dick measuring contest. I think that might be kind of, if I'm a Pats fan, that's the sentiment. I remember the Favre games when he played, when he got to Minnesota and got to play the Packers. Yeah. I know a lot of Packers fans, and they were like, man, he might just try to make us look stupid. And those were fun years, especially the first one with Favre. That was a lot of fun when he was playing up here. A lot better than when he was playing at the Jets. So it'll be interesting to see this game. This is going to be. We might not have a game like this for years and years with this much fanfare around a player returning to their old team. No one's ever going to play that long with the team and have that much success and then switch teams. And then still play at a high level. This is very unique. Put this on the DVR, guys.
100%.
And he's going to break. You can bet on this. This is a market you can bet on. Is who catches the record-breaking pass to break the all-time yardage. That's a fun one.
What's the Gio Bernard price?
20, I think.
That's not bad.
No. I think he was actually lower. But a couple of the Brait was 20, and Tyler Johnson was pretty high. Just anybody. It's the yardage record, I believe.
Yardage record, yes. Yardage record. Yeah.
They'll give him one of those laminated things like they gave Brady.
If they pause the game to give Brady a laminated card, my fucking God. We'll have to go live to a halftime show at that point just to kill time. Yeah, no, that's true.
Brady may ask to play defense just to hit Mac Jones.
So is there a market for Brady over under tackles?
Yeah, oh my God, that would be something. That's not happening.
He could throw a pick and make a tackle also.
Yeah, that's fair. It's like the Larry Fitzgerald thing. He has more tackles than drops.
Oh yeah, I love that stat. Okay. Well,
call it a week.
Do you want the secret pod play officially to be Tampa Bay? So
let's make it because it's the big game. It's more fun.
Yeah, I don't have any other plays for that one, so that'll be fun. We can get 28. Ooh, this is starting to get steamy. 28 was flat this morning. It's getting up to minus 125 at Bet Online, so don't bet it there. There's going to be some other places where it's going to be in the 28 range. I wouldn't play over 28.5 just because now you're asking for a fifth score. But
yeah,
no, this should be good. Honestly, I hope it's good. I hope it's not boring. I hope it's not an ass kicking. I hope it's competitive. I hope Mac Jones shows us something.
I don't think ass kicking and boring might be in the same.
That's a good point.
It might be pretty funny. Just they will cut to Belichick so much if it's 49-7 or something ridiculous.
Great.
That will be pretty funny. Hey, guess what? You people in the chat, you killed it today.
Yeah, good job, guys. Thank you.
Really good stuff. If you have,
we give you the thumbs up.
You know what? Yeah, if I could click a thumbs up button for you, I would. Good job. And yeah, it is the Belichick thing. And I truthfully, I hope Mac Jones plays okay because I have tickets on him, and I'd like to see him be a decent quarterback.
Hey, real quick, favorite play of the week: Raiders on Monday Night Football.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. Real spoiler: we don't usually cover this, but we both bet the 3.5. The Raiders, I can't even get close to this line.
3.5. I absolutely love it. The fact that you're getting the hook on that. Oh my goodness, that is a good one.
That is in the queue.
Favorite look of the week. We'll give you the full breakdown on Sunday. We won't forget this time.
So, all right.
So,
yeah, we forgot Monday Night Football last week.
Yeah, we did.
Which is whatever. We'll get to it.
That's fine. You knew what my top play was, and it was dog shit anyway. So
yeah, but the second half play, you totally redeemed yourself with an absolute giant Polish. You had a big old Polish middle spot.
Oh yeah,
but you were so you
wasn't sweating
right there. I was right there with you.
Knew I had the wrong side.
Thelma and Louise did hands together.
Knew through and through I had the wrong side. You got to own it sometimes. Great a loser and move on. Find another EV play.
Yep. So good luck with your week 4 bets. If you have any questions you think of after this, hit us on Twitter. I'm always there.
All right. Take care, guys.
See you guys. Thanks, man.
Hit it. There he goes. Right now.